This video is meant for CBSE students of class 12th and it's a kind of preface to the chapter titled The Third Level, which comes in the Supplementary Reader. By the end of this video, you will be able to establish the basic understanding of the text, and the points presented here will make you understand how a text should be read. You will be able to understand how a text should be read in general, and the points discussed here will facilitate your comprehension level of this text in particular. Alright, the first point about the text is its genre. As far as the genre is concerned, it's an imaginative fiction. The story is highly fictitious, in which the developments take place because of the imaginative skills of the protagonist. The protagonist starts thinking, starts imagining, and views the fantasy with reality to present it in the form of a mysterious story. The second point is title. As far as the title is concerned, it's the third level, and this third level, it refers to one of the three subways which are present at the Grand Central Station. The Grand Central Railway Station has three ways there. Remember, there are three ways at the Grand Central Station, and this third level is nothing but one of the three ways which are present there at the station. And this third level, the specific subway, it takes the passengers to Galesburg, Illinois. This title has a symbolic meaning as well. Symbolically, it refers to the imagination, the wishful world, the world of dreams, the escapism. We'll talk more on escapism later on. The next point on your screen written there is subject. As far as the subject of this text is concerned, it's an imaginative journey. It's a journey actually which never takes place in reality. The protagonist of the story feels, the narrator of the story feels that he has visited to a level which he calls the third level at the Grand Central Station, but that never exists in reality. So it's a kind of imagination only which plays a trick on the narrator, and he feels that he has been to the third level. It so happens that once he thought about the third level in his imagination, and he feels that he has actually been to the third level in reality. Talking about the characters of the story, the protagonist, the central character, the major character of the story is Charlie. He is an American and is 31 years old person who works in an office. Second character is Lucia, and Lucia is in fact his wife. She never appears in the text, but there's a reference to her name in the story. The third character, perhaps the second most important character of the story, is Sam, who is a friend to Charlie, and he is psychiatrist by profession. When Charlie expresses his experience, shares his experience with his friend Sam, Sam, being a psychiatrist, tries to give a logical or a reasoning sense to the experience of his friend, and says that your experience, whatever you have seen, whatever you have experienced, you believe that you have been to the third level, but the third level has never been there at the Grand Central Station. He says that your experience is nothing but a waking dream wish fulfillment. Sam plays an important role in the text. As far as the narrator is concerned, it's none other than protagonist Charlie himself. He presents the story from his own first person point of view and then shares the experiences as they take place with him. Regarding tone, I would say he is much concerned. The narrator is much concerned. He feels that others are not able to understand him. He feels he has been to the third level, but even his closest friend Sam is not able to understand him. The psychiatrist friend, he declares his experience to be a waking dream wish fulfillment, and that's what disappoints the narrator. Hence, he is in fact concerned, much concerned rather. The tense used to narrate the story is present and past, and the theme is escapism. Escapism simply means a deliberate attempt made by a person to go away from reality. In fact, in this text, we find that the narrator's journey to the third level is nothing but a medium of escape. Charlie wanted to go away from the harsh realities of life. Life in the modern world is actually full of insecurities in all their manifestations. There is fear, worry, stress, anxiety, and in order to move away from all these insecurities of life, one has to seek solace in the lap of imagination. Talking about escapism in general, in fact, everybody wants to escape from the harsh realities of life. Life is not a cakewalk, it's a tough journey and uphill task for many. In fact, it's for everybody at one point of time or the other, difficulties, challenges, they come. The protagonist of the story once visits to the third level, as per his belief, and later on he also tries to go to the third level, but his second attempt is a failure. He is not able to return to the third level, though there is a burning desire, there is a strong wish to reach to the third level, and that's what makes the conflict in the story. In fact, this might symbolically be referring to one idea where the protagonist is not able to find any escapism. Earlier on, he was successful in moving away from the harsh realities of life, the insecurities of life, but in his second attempt, in his third, and many other attempts, he is unsuccessful. The chapter seems to deliver the message that modern life is full of insecurities in all their manifestations. There is stress, anxiety, fear, war, and everybody tries to seek solace in escapism. But there needs to be a balance between the two. One needs to strike a balance between the imagination and the reality. One should not be completely lost in the daydreaming or the dreaming world of imagination. One really needs to strike a balance between the two. Now heading towards the concepts emphasized in the text. As far as are concerned, there are two major ideas expressed in the text. The first one is escapism, which has already been discussed. The second idea, the most important one perhaps here, is intersection of time and space. What intersection means? Intersection simply means overlapping. When we say overlapping, that means two times they will be overlapped. Two spaces, they will be overlapped. How can they be overlapped? When two times coexist simultaneously, when two times they exist at one place, then there can be an intersection of time. When two spaces, they also are two places, two locales, when they exist, coexist, and overlap, that is once again the intersection of space. And as far as this text is concerned, we find both intersection of time as well as space in this. This chapter can be linked, it can be likened, it can be compared with another chapter that you people might have studied earlier on in your grade 11. The title of the chapter was The Adventure, written by Jayant Narlikar. In both these chapters, there is an intersection of time as well as space, where one person can be found at two different places or in two different times, in two different time zones. Both the text, in a way, they talk about the present, the time travels. Similarly, I would like to explain this chapter here. In this chapter, in the beginning, in the very beginning, we find that the narrator, the protagonist of the chapter, he reaches to the third level. He goes at the Grand Central Station. Just imagine about the Grand Central Railway Station. At the Grand Central Railway Station, there are three subways. There are three subways means there are three ways, and all the three ways they are leading to three different destinations, three different places they are leading to. As far as the first two ways are concerned, the first two ways, two subways, they are present in the present times. They are fixed, they are located in such a way they look belonging to the present time. But talk about the third level, the third subway, we find that the third level is not in the present time. It's actually the level which existed in 1890s. In 1890s, when the people, they had the weird kind of beards, and they had quite some mustache bearers there, and the people, they looked, awkwardly dressed, differently dressed. The dresses actually which used to be worn by the people in the past. So definitely this third level, it refers to the past, the third one. The third subway is different from the first two subways, and here we find the intersection of time as well as place in this incident. Secondly, we find that Charlie actually is a character who belongs to the present, but he has been to the third level, and in third level, the life was the life of 1890s. 1890s it was, right? Therefore, a character from present going through the time zone into the past. This definitely is an intersection of time once again seen here. Then later on, we find towards the end of the story that Charlie's friend Sam had written a letter, and the letter actually was mailed to Charlie's grandfather. Charlie's grandfather used to live sometimes in past. Now a person, imagine about a person who belonged to present era, who belonged to the present times. Same, the friend of narrator Charlie, writing a letter to his grandfather, two generations back, writing a letter to his grandfather. This once again is the intersection or overlapping of time. Then once again we find the letter on the one hand is mailed to the grandfather of the narrator or the protagonist, but it has been addressed, it has been written for, it has been written for Charlie. It's not written for his grandfather. In fact, the wording of the letter is such that it has been addressed to Charlie, and his friend Sam, he asks his friend, advises rather his friend Charlie to meet him in the third level, because he says that I have already been living in the third level, and he suggests his friend Charlie to see him there in the third level. He says, come along with your wife to the third level. Says, I'm also living here. This once again, there is an intersection of time as well as space, and that's what is the most considerable. That is one of the most important concepts of this chapter. If you are able to understand both these concepts, then go tell yourself that you have understood the chapter. Otherwise, no. That's all I had to convey. Do take good care of yourselves. Many thanks, people.